In this video, we're going to look at the Democrats' positioning in the Senate, because as it stands right now, it's not good for them, and they're really not, in the best positions. They weren't really in a great position ever since 2014 midterms. In this video, I'm going to talk about what they could have done in previous elections to maybe not be in such a crappy position. Am I filming? Yes, I am. I don't want to use distractions you because they're really annoying and I'm on a time crunch. 2024, obviously, Republicans flipped 4 seats. So if the Democrats didn't want to be in a crappy position in 2026, 2028, 2030, which I'll link in the description, they really should have done better in 2024. And the obvious state is Pennsylvania, because Pennsylvania was with a swing state, and it was close. Bob Casey Jr. losing re-election by 0.22%. So this is an obvious seat that Democrats should have, looked at and tried to hold on to, because this was a swing seat. And looking at the 2024 presidential election. Looking at the 2024 presidential election, then and looking at that map, looking at that map, you see Pennsylvania did vote for Trump. So it's not like they lost a state that Trump lost, but in 2020, Biden carried the state. The other states Biden carried in 2020, Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, all retained their Democratic senators, even though Trump won those states. Yet they couldn't hold on to Pennsylvania. And again, Pennsylvania, Trump only won by 1.7%. So again, obvious state that Democrats really wish they were able to hold on to the same way that they could in Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada, and Arizona. So if it was only 52 to 48, then that would be a much better position for Democrats to be in. Obviously, the other states, they had no chance. Once Manchin decided to not run for re-election, West Virginia was a lost cause. Montana was also going to be a very uphill battle for the Democrats. It makes sense that Tester lost by 7%. Ohio is another state where you could argue that they should have kept. And Moreno did beat Brown by 3.5%. But Ohio, as you can see, has been red for a while. Looking at the presidential election in Ohio, Trump won it by double digits. It was the widest Ohio voted for Republicans since 1984. It was considered to be a likely red state, no longer really a swing state, so it's tough to hold on to. And unlike Pennsylvania, I really can't fault the Democrats for losing Ohio, because that was going to be a very tough seat where the only way that they would really keep this seat is based on the popularity of Sherrod Brown. So again, Ohio's a state that you would have liked to have kept, but again, it's not like these seats were really close. It's not like I could really fault them too much, considering that these weren't, easy seats. And it's not like Ohio is a state that you should win, even if it's a bit of a blowout. I will say that the fact that there was a Democratic incumbent retiring in Michigan and might make Michigan, as well as several others, and Arizona too, a state that Republicans could be punching themselves over if they do lose the Senate. But where the Republicans are retiring is Utah and Indiana. So obviously, very tough states to hold. But yeah, no state in which Kamala Harris won elected a Republican to the Senate. So again, I can only really fault Democrats for losing Pennsylvania. 2022, I can fault Democrats a little bit too. They did make a gain in the state of Pennsylvania, but it was clear that 51-49 was probably not going to do the trick, given what the 2024 map was for Democrats. In particular, Wisconsin, and I get that Ron Johnson won by a percent, but this is a state that, and he was an incumbent, but this is a state where Biden won in 2020, So it really should not have been in position to elect a Republican. So again, Democrats could have increased their majority to 52-48 off the back of that, or even 53-47 if they could flip North Carolina, which had a retiring incumbent Republic in, and it was only 3.2%. So it was within reach for Democrats. Um, like again, this was within reach for Democrats. You can look at the pollings. They all said tilt Republican. Again, it was going to be tough, but one of the Democrats would really like to have under their belt right now in North Carolina. And again, you had the advantage of a retiring incumbent. So, again, like, obviously, that Democrats had only wished they lost 3 seats in 2024. They're wishing they really gained 2 or 3. And look, I'll be reasonable. I'll say that really people only expected them to win 2 of them, and it was a miracle that they didn't lose any states like Arizona and Georgia, was certainly very losable states for the Democrats. Um, so I'll only fault them because for not gaining a net of 2. So again, you Democrats wish that they only lost 3 in 2024 and that they had gained 2 in 2022. So that's 2 seats that Democrats are really kicking themselves wishing they had. Finally, we'll get to 2020, and the reason why we're not going to go into 2018 and whatnot is because it's the 2018 and 2024 is the same map. So even if they had won in 2018, what's to say that they don't just lose in 2024? In 2020, Democrats obviously had to be thrilled at the results of the Georgia runoffs and of the election in Arizona because they flipped the Senate. And furthermore, the Arizona runoff was the race that they proceeded to win. In Georgia, the runoff, they proceeded to, again, win. They held those races. So it was only a net gain of 1 Class 2 seat. And obviously, Republicans flipped Alabama. That only turned blue in the first place because Roy Moore is a pedophile. And apparently, pedophilia is enough to make the strongly Republican state of Alabama vote for a Democrat. But it was the only time Democrats won a statewide election in Alabama since 2008. First time that a Democratic senator won Alabama since 1990. And it was a very obvious flip for Republicans, considering that the ratings were pretty likely for Republicans to win. So, again, you can't really fault Democrats for losing Alabama. And they did their business in Colorado. The one, you know, the one state that I think I can fault Democrats for in this election is Maine. And I say Maine because Trump lost to Biden by 9.1% in the state. Collins won by 8%. It wasn't close, but the polling was in favor of Democrats. So you really would have thought that the Democrats could have been able to stand on their ground and carry, this race. Um, Again, you really would have hoped that they could do that. And again, like, that's just what I'm saying. No other state was really plausible to flip for the Democrats. I mean, Republicans, I'm sure, are kicking themselves for the results in Georgia, especially when you realize that they were, you know, even slightly favored in one of the elections. And North Carolina is another state that Democrats could kick themselves over because they were favored to win the state. Like, they were favored to win the state. And it was still within 2%. So. So that's what I'll say. Basically, Democrats and I'll be nice, and I'll only say that they should have flipped one of these, and we'll see what the results are if we only take the median estimate of each of them, and then we'll see if we take the extreme. So if we say that they should have flipped 4 seats in 2020 instead of only 3, so that the 53-47 margin for Republicans will become 51-49. Take that 51-49 margin, and in 2022, flip 3 seats to get a 53-47 majority. No, flip 2 seats. 2024, if you then lose those 3 seats, it's 50-50 tie, which still would not be enough to give them control of the chamber in 2024. They're going to lose it either way. However, it does mean a few things. First of all, Maine and North Carolina, the only real flip opportunities in 2026. All they'd have to do is gain a net of 1 singular seat in 2026, and they would take control of the chamber. And now they need 4 seats. And it also means that this is the median estimate. Let's say that, you have a perfect world in 2020, and in addition to Arizona, Colorado, and both Georgia races going blue, even with Alabama going red, if North Carolina and Maine flip, then that's 5-seat flip, and it's 52-47 in favor of the Democrats. 52-48 for the Democrats. Flip 3 seats here, and now it's 55-48. The 4-seat flip will not be enough to flip control of the chamber. They'll have a 51-49 majority. Like, everyone knew 2024 was going to be a bad election for Democrats. They shouldn't have been in a 1-seat majority position in the first place. They should have done more in other states.